The Catherine Dominion attacked Earth from 15,000 light-years away. They thought that unimaginable distance made them untouchable. And for exactly 18 months, they were right. Then, humanity's most brilliant and most unstable physicists tore open a wormhole directly to their homeworld. And the Catherine learned a very hard lesson. When you attack humans, distance doesn't protect you. It just delays the consequences. This is the story of humanity's first offensive wormhole assault. It's the story of how we turned theoretical physics into a weapon of pure, unadulterated revenge. How an invasion force traveled 15,000 light-years in just 3 seconds and landed right in the enemy's capital. By the end of this, you'll understand why the galaxy now considers human FTL research a threat to galactic security, and why the Catherine have a national holiday called the Day Distance Died. The Catherine Dominion had what they considered perfect security. Their homeworld was nestled safely 15,000 light-years from Earth. Even with the fastest fold-speed drives in the galaxy, a one-way trip would take a minimum of 30 years, so they could strike at us with long-range automated drone ships, send them on that 30-year journey, attack and retreat. By the time humanity could even think about mounting a response, the drones would be long gone. By the time any human ship could reach Kathriska space, the war would be over, won or lost. Either way, the Catherine homeworld would remain safe, untouchable, protected by the absolute tyranny of distance. It was, on paper, a perfect strategy. Risk-free aggression. They'd even used it successfully against 3 other species before us. They'd launch attacks from an extreme, almost mythical range, and force a surrender through sustained bombardment, all while remaining physically unreachable. The victims couldn't retaliate. They couldn't even reach the Catherine to negotiate terms. They just had to accept defeat, accept terms transmitted across light-years, and accept domination by an enemy they would never, ever see in person. Earth was supposed to be victim number 4. The Catherine launched their first wave. 500 drone warships, sent on a 30-year journey to our solar system. Their programming was simple. Arrive simultaneously, overwhelm Earth's defenses, destroy military infrastructure, and then transmit the surrender terms. It was simple, proven, and effective. The Catherine went about their lives, content. The drones would arrive in 30 years. By then, the current leaders would be retired or dead. Their grandchildren would be the ones to enjoy the fruits of conquest, with Earth's resources flowing to the Catherine, and another species brought under their control. Another easy victory for the Dominion. Except, the drones arrived early. 18 months after their launch, they dropped out of fold speed right in our solar system, right on schedule, according to their internal clocks. But somehow, the news of their arrival reached the Catherine homeworld instantly. Not 30 years later. Instantly. Through channels that shouldn't exist. Impossible channels. Then came the reports. The drones had been destroyed. All 500 of them. Eliminated by Earth's defenders within hours of their arrival. The attack had failed. Completely and utterly. The Catherine leadership was confused, but not particularly concerned. The first wave was always considered expendable, so they launched a second wave. This one was larger 1,500 drones, better weapons, more coordinated attack patterns. This time, they would succeed. They would arrive in 30 years, and Earth would be conquered. The Catherine went back to their daily lives, confident, secure, and protected by a distance that simply couldn't be overcome. They were so wrong about the distance. Enter Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a theoretical physicist. Absolutely brilliant, and, by all accounts, dangerously unstable. She was obsessed with wormhole physics. She had spent 20 years of her life trying to solve the mathematics of traversable wormholes. Not the tiny fleeting quantum wormholes that phase in and out of existence, but large, stable ones, big enough for starships to pass through. The math said it was possible. Barely. It required something called exotic matter, with a negative energy density. It required precise gravitational manipulation on an unprecedented scale, and it required a power output equivalent to that of a small star. It was technically possible, but practically impossible. Then, the Catherine attacked, and suddenly, Yuki stopped caring about practically impossible. All she cared about was revenge, about making the Catherine regret ever looking in our direction, about proving that distance didn't protect anyone from human retribution. For 18 straight months, she worked. She barely slept. She barely ate. She just calculated, simulated, and refined her equations. Her colleagues were convinced she'd finally lost her mind. And maybe she had. But brilliance and madness can look very similar from the outside. Both involve seeing connections that others miss. Both involve ignoring the limitations that stop sane, sensible people in their tracks. And she solved it. It wasn't an elegant solution. It certainly wasn't a safe one. But it was a solution. A method to tear open stable wormholes, large enough for an entire fleet of ships. It required an enormous amount of energy. It required manufacturing that exotic matter in our most powerful particle accelerators. And it required gravitational manipulation at scales we had never even attempted. And it required accepting a terrifying risk. 10% of all attempts, according to her models, would fail catastrophically. A 10% chance the wormhole would collapse, destroying everything nearby, killing everyone involved. But there was a 90% chance it would work. A 90% chance of creating a stable passage through the fabric of spacetime, connecting to points regardless of the distance between them. It was a way to bypass physics, a way to cheat reality itself. Yuki presented her work to the United Earth military. At first, they thought she was insane. The head of advanced research, a man named Dr. James Park, took her calculations and locked himself in his office for 3 days. He checked every single equation, every assumption, every simulation. Then he emerged, looking pale and exhausted, and said something that would change the future of human warfare forever. This will work. Probably. Maybe. There's a chance, but if it works, we can reach the Catherine Homeworld. Today, not in 30 years. Today, the military high command met in an emergency session that very hour. Yuki stood before them and laid out her proposal, a revenge invasion. Use her wormhole technology to completely bypass the 15,000 light-years of distance. Traveled to the Catherine system in seconds, emerge directly in their home space, and launch a ground assault on their capital world before they even knew we could reach them. Turn their perfect, untouchable security into their greatest vulnerability. Make distance irrelevant, and so Tim and the rest of the galaxy. That attacking Earth has consequences, immediate, devastating consequences, regardless of how far away you think you are. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tailies from the frontiers of science fiction. See you next time. The risks were enormous. 10% failure rate meant potential loss of the entire invasion force. And even if the wormhole worked, they'd be emerging in enemy territory, 15,000 light-years from support. From resupply. From retreat, it was suicide. A one-way mission. Everyone going through that wormhole would either win completely or die trying. No middle ground. No backup plan. No escape. Volunteers were requested. 50,000 soldiers needed for a mission that would take them across the galaxy instantly. Drop them on an alien homeworld. Give them one objective. Make the Catherine surrender. Or die in the attempt. Command expected maybe 10,000 volunteers. Soldiers willing to risk death for revenge. For justice. For showing the galaxy that Earth couldn't be attacked without cost. They got 300,000 volunteers. In the first day, by week's end, over 1 million had applied. Soldiers, civilians, scientists, engineers. Anyone with relevant skills. Everyone wanting to be part of humanity's first offensive strike. The largest volunteer military force in human history. For a mission that was mathematically likely to kill 10% of them before they even left, and certain to kill more once they arrived. Command selected 50,000. The best, the most skilled, the most motivated. Then told them the truth. Full truth. 10% chance of catastrophic failure during transit. Unknown odds of survival on Catherine Homeworld. 0 possibility of evacuation or reinforcement. One-way trip. success or death. Those were the options. Anyone could withdraw. No shame. This was beyond normal military operations. This was vengeance. Volunteers only. No pressure. Nobody withdrew. All 50,000 stayed. Commander Elena Volkov, chosen to lead the invasion force, addressed them. We're going to do something unprecedented. Travel across the galaxy. Attack an enemy in their home. Show them the distance doesn't protect anyone from Earth. Some of us will die in transit. More will die on the ground. Maybe all of us, but we'll make them regret attacking Earth. We'll make them understand that humanity doesn't forget, doesn't forgive, and doesn't accept being unreachable as a defense. Distance is just a number. We're about to prove it. Who's with me? 50,000 voices. All responding. All committed. All ready to either win or die. That's humanity. Give us a target. We'll reach it. Even if it requires breaking physics, even if it requires dying in the attempt, give us enemies who think they're safe. We'll prove them wrong. That's what we do. That's what we've always done. The wormhole construction took 6 months. Massive particle accelerators, manufactured exotic matter, gravitational generators positioned in precise configuration, power systems built to channel output from 3 fusion reactors, everything constructed in deep space, away from Earth. Just in case the 10% failure happened. Better to lose the equipment than risk the planet. Dr. Tanaka oversaw every detail, checked every calculation, every component. This was her life's work. Her revenge. Her proof that physics couldn't stop human determination. She'd lost family in the Catherine attack. Lost friends. Lost part of herself. This wormhole was more than physics. It was personal. It was. Message. It was statement. Nobody attacks Earth and lives peacefully 15,000 light years away. Distance doesn't protect you anymore. We've killed distance, and we're coming for you. The invasion force, prepared. 50,000 soldiers, equipment designed for assault and occupation. Heavy weapons, fortification materials. Supplies for 6 months. After that, they'd either have won or died. No point planning beyond 6 months. Ships were modified, stripped of FTL drives. Unnecessary now. Just armor and weapons and life support. Transport ships. Everything needed to invade a planet. All fitting through a wormhole 3 kilometers in diameter. Everything aligned. Ready, aimed at coordinates provided by captured Catherine navigation data. Aimed at their homeworld. At their capital. At the heart of their civilization. Launch day arrived. The wormhole apparatus activated. 3 fusion reactors channeling power. Gravitational generators warping space. Exotic matter stabilizing the breach in reality. And slowly, impossibly, wonderfully, space tore open. A circle of nothing. Not darkness. Nothing. A hole in the universe connecting to points 15,000 apart. Stable. Waiting. Ready to violate causality and make distance meaningless. Commander Volkov gave the order. All ships. Into the breach. For Earth. For humanity. For showing these bastards what happens when you attack humans and think you're safe. The fleet entered. 50 ships carrying 50,000 soldiers. Into the wormhole. Into nothing. Into the impossible space between places. The transit took 3 seconds. Subjective time. 3 seconds to cross 15,000 light, not faster than light. Outside light. Beyond physics, through a hole that shouldn't exist, connecting places that shouldn't be connected. Then they emerged. In Catherine space, in orbit above Catherine Homeworld. Right above their capital city. 15,000 light years from Earth. Having traveled in 3 seconds what should have taken 30 years. The Catherine detected them immediately. Impossible ships appearing from nothing. Human ships, above their homeworld, the alerts went out. Confusion. Terror. How? How were humans here? It was impossible. They were 15,000 light years away. They didn't have FTL capable of this distance. They couldn't be here. But where? 50 ships descending, weapons armed, invasion imminent. The Catherine Defense Forces scrambled, but they weren't ready. How could they be ready? Their entire military doctrine assumed threats would come from neighboring systems. Close threats. Predictable threats. Not from across the galaxy. Not from humans who shouldn't even know where Catherine was. Not from enemies who could cross 15,000 light years in seconds using physics that didn't exist. The human fleet descended. Drop pods launched. 50,000 soldiers falling toward the capital, landing in synchronized strikes across the city. In government centers, military bases, communication hubs, every critical target simultaneously. The Catherine tried to resist. Their planetary defense systems activated. Ground forces mobilized, but they were disorganized. Shocked. Fighting an enemy that shouldn't exist in their space. Commander Volkov landed with the first wave. Her drop pod crashed through the roof of the Cathra Dominion government complex, 10 stories down, right into the council chamber, where Catherine leadership was meeting. Panicking, trying to understand how humans were here. She exited the pod weapon right, 40 soldiers behind her. Facing 200 Catherine officials who'd never expected to see a human in person, who thought they were untouchable. Protected. Safe. Safe surrender. Surrender. Simple. Direct. Surrender, or we will take your planet by force. You attacked Earth. We responded. Distance doesn't protect you. It never did. We're here now. We're angry, and we're not leaving until this ends. Your choice, how it ends. Peacefully, with your surrender, or violently, with your extinction. Choose quickly. The Cathrian High Chancellor, an old bureaucrat named Thelver, stared in disbelief. How are you here? This is impossible. You're 15,000 light years from your home. You can't be here. Clearly we can, Volkov said. Because we are. Wormhole technology. Experimental. Dangerous. 10% of the invasion force might have died just getting here. But we came anyway, because you attacked Earth. And Earth doesn't accept attacks from unreachable enemies. We made you reachable. Now you're occupied. Surrender, or face the consequences. Thelver looked at his council, at the human soldiers surrounding them, at the impossibility that had just crashed through their roof, at the end of the Catherine's perfect security. If we surrender, what are your terms? Immediate cessation of all hostile actions against Earth. Recall of all drone ships. Full disclosure of military capabilities. Reparations for damages, and permanent peace treaty with verification protocols. Accept these terms, and we leave peacefully. Your planet stays intact. Your people stay alive. Refuse, and we stay. We fight. We conquer. And you learn what happens to species that attack humans and think distance protects them. It doesn't. Not anymore. The council voted. Unanimous. Surrender. Complete surrender. They'd lost before the fight even started. Lost to an enemy that couldn't have reached them. Except they had, because humans don't accept limitations like distance. We just work around them. Find solutions. Break physics if necessary, and appear above your capital with 50,000 angry soldiers ready to prove that nowhere is safe from human retribution. The war ended that day. 18 months after it started, the Cathri surrendered completely. Recalled their drones, paid reparations. Signed treaties, agreed to every human demand, because the alternative was having 50,000 soldiers occupying their capital, with more potentially coming through the wormhole, an endless stream of humans pouring across space-time to punish the Catherine for their mistake. for attacking Earth. For thinking distance was defense, the human forces stayed for 3 months, ensuring compliance, documenting Catherine military capabilities, making sure the surrender was real, permanent. Then they returned, through another wormhole, back to Earth, carrying stories of the impossible invasion, of the war won in a day by appearing where humans shouldn't be able to appear. Casualties were calculated. 4,800 lost during initial wormhole transit. 10%, exactly as predicted. The math was correct. The risk was real. Nearly 5,000 dead before they even fought, and another 300 killed in ground combat. 5,100 total casualties out of 50,000, 10% mortality rate. Acceptable losses for ending a war that could have killed millions. For proving that distance doesn't protect anyone. For establishing that attacking Earth has consequences regardless of how far away you live. The galaxy reacted with horror. Humanity had developed traversable wormhole technology. Could appear anywhere in the galaxy, without warning, without travel time, without the safety distance provided. Every species with hostile intentions toward Earth suddenly reconsidered. Because how do you defend against enemies who can bypass space itself? Who can appear in orbit above your home world before you even know they're coming? You just don't make enemies with them in the first place. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session, called for regulation of wormhole technology, called it destabilizing, dangerous, a threat to galactic security. Humanity's representative, Ambassador David Jokafort, listened to the concerns, then responded with something that silenced the chamber. Where was this concern when the Catherine attacked Earth from 15,000 light-years away? Where was the Galactic Council when they launched drone weapons on 30-year journeys to destroy human colonies? Where was the regulation then? The Catherine used distance as a weapon, as a shield, as perfect defense. We removed that advantage, made distance meaningless. That's not that's justice. That's showing aggressor species that they can't hide behind light. If you attack humanity, we will respond. We will reach you. Distance doesn't matter. Time doesn't matter. Physics doesn't matter. We'll break it if we have to. That's not a threat. That's a promise. Don't attack Earth, and you'll never see a human wormhole. Attack us, and you'll see one opening above your capital. Those are your options. Choose wisely. The Council didn't regulate wormhole technology because they couldn't. Because Earth wouldn't comply, and because forcing compliance would require attacking Earth, which would result in wormholes opening above their homeworlds. It was deterrence. Mutually assured destruction. Attack Earth, and we'll appear on your planet. Maybe the wormhole kills 10% of us, but the remaining 90% will be very motivated, very angry. And standing on your homeworld, better to not attack at all. Dr. Tanaka received every scientific award humanity offered, and several from alien species, for solving traversable wormhole physics, for weaponizing theoretical mathematics, for making one of humanity's oldest dreams real. Instant travel across any distance. She accepted the recognition quietly. Didn't enjoy the fame. Didn't want celebration. She'd done it for revenge. For family, for proving distance couldn't protect the Catherine. The awards were nice, but the real reward was knowing her work had ended a war, saved millions of lives, and taught the galaxy that humanity couldn't be safely attacked from any distance. She gave one interview, near the end of her life, reflecting on the wormhole, the invasion, the consequences. People call it humanity's greatest achievement, she said, breaking the distance barrier, conquering space-time. I call it humanity's greatest act of spite. We didn't develop wormholes because we wanted to explore. We developed them because we wanted to revenge. Because enemies thought they were safe 15,000 light-years away. We proved them wrong. That's very human. We'll solve impossible physics problems just to punch someone who punched us first. That's not noble. That's not enlightened. That's petty. And I'm okay with that. Sometimes petty is what wins wars. The Cathri never recovered their confidence. Their entire civilization had been based on untouchable security, on attacking others while remaining unreachable. Humanity had shattered that, proven they could be reached, could be invaded, could be conquered if humanity chose. They became cautious, peaceful, paranoid. Every unusual energy reading could be a wormhole opening. Every diplomatic slight could bring human soldiers crashing through space. They erected monuments to the day distance died, commemorating the day their perfect defense ended. The day humans appeared where humans couldn't be. Warning future generations never to assume distance protects anyone from anything. 50 years later, wormhole technology became standard for human exploration. Refined. Safer. Only 2% failure rate. Humanity spread across the galaxy instantly. Colonies established thousands of light years from Earth, all connected by wormholes, all reachable in seconds. Earth became the center of an empire built on physics that shouldn't work, on technology developed from spite and refined by necessity. We'd broken space-time because enemies attacked us. Then we kept it broken because it was useful. Commander Volkov retired as one of humanity's most celebrated military figures. The woman who led the first wormhole invasion, who traveled 15,000 light years in 3 seconds and conquered a planet in 3 hours. She wrote a memoir, Distance Means Nothing. Humanity's first offensive wormhole operation. It became required reading at every military academy. Human and alien, teaching the lesson. Distance doesn't protect you. Technology can overcome it. And humanity specifically will overcome it, if motivated enough. She was interviewed on the 50th anniversary of the invasion, asked if she'd do it again. Knowing the risks, knowing 10% would die in transit. Knowing it was a one-way mission. Absolutely, she said. No hesitation. The Cathrian thought they could attack Earth safely. Thought distance made them untouchable. They needed correction. Voi provvedere italiano, emphatically. Violently. Definitively. That's what militaries do. We correct mistakes. The Cathrine's mistake was thinking geography protected them. We proved it didn't. Would I do it again? In a heartbeat. Distance is just a number. A big number. But still, just a number. And humans have always been good at ignoring numbers that inconvenience us. The wormhole used for the original invasion was preserved, kept in stable configuration. A monument. A reminder. A warning. It still points at Cathrine's space, still connects Earth to their homeworld. Inactive now. Powered down. But functional. Ready. The Cathrian ever forgot. Ever considered attacking again. The wormhole is there. Waiting. 3 seconds from Earth to 3 seconds from peace. 2. Invasion. 3 seconds between the Cathra thinking they're safe and realizing they never were. Tourists visit it. Stand near the apparatus that tore open space-time, that violated physics for revenge, that made 15,000 light years meaningless. School children learn about it. About Dr. Tanaka, who solved impossible math. About Commander Volkov, who led impossible invasion. About 50,000 soldiers who volunteered for one-way mission. About the war that ended in a day because distance stopped protecting aggressors. The galaxy learned. Humanity learned. Distance means nothing when motivated humans have wormhole technology. Attacking Earth from far away doesn't protect you. It just delays the response. And when the response comes, it comes instantly. 50,000 soldiers appearing above your capital. Weapons armed. Demands clear. Surrender or consequences. Those are your options when you attack humans. Distance doesn't create a third option. Not anymore. The Cathra tried to develop wormhole technology themselves. Failed. Couldn't solve the mathematics. Couldn't manage the exotic matter. Couldn't handle the energy requirements. Or maybe couldn't handle the motivation. Because they'd never needed wormholes for revenge. Never needed to reach across 15,000 light years to punish someone. Never had the specific combination of spite and brilliance that produces traversable wormhole physics. The lesson spread throughout the galaxy. Don't attack species capable of revolutionary spite-driven physics breakthroughs. Don't assume distance protects you. Don't start wars with humans specifically, because humans will appear on your doorstep. Instantly. Angry. Armed. Ready to prove that nowhere is safe. That distance is illusion. That attacking Earth has consequences regardless of how many light years separate you from Sol system. They thought distance kept them safe. We disagreed. Then we proved it. Tore open space-time. Crossed 15,000 light years. In 3 seconds. Landed on their home world. Forced surrender in 3 hours. Ended a war in a day that should have lasted decades. That's humanity. You tell us we can't reach you. We'll invent new physics to prove you wrong. You attack us, thinking you're safe. We'll show up at your capital before you finish celebrating your strike. You think distance protects you? We'll kill distance. Make it meaningless. Make it irrelevant. Make it just another obstacle we overcame, because overcoming obstacles is what we do. The Catherine learned. The galaxy learned. Distance doesn't protect anyone from humanity. Not anymore. Probably never did. We just needed motivation to prove it. Needed someone to attack us from far away and think they'd gotten away with it. Needed an excuse to solve wormhole physics. Needed a reason to tear open space-time and use it as a weapon. The Catherine provided that reason. We provided the response, and now every species knows. Attack Earth from anywhere. We'll be there. Instantly. Angry. And ready to teach you that distance is just another problem humans solved, because someone made us solve it. That's the real story. Not about wormholes or physics or military operations. About humanity's response to being told we can't do something. We do it anyway. Out of spite, out of determination, out of absolute refusal to accept limitations. You tell us we can't reach you. We'll reach you. You tell us physics doesn't allow it, we'll change physics. You tell us distance protects you, we'll kill distance and show up at your door. That's humanity. That's what we've always been. The species that refuses to accept impossible as an answer. That solves physics problems, because we're mad. That invades across galaxies because someone told us we couldn't. They thought distance kept them safe. They were wrong. And 15,000 light years later, appearing above their capital in 3 seconds, we proved it. Definitively, violently, completely. That's the lesson. That's the warning. That's humanity's promise to any species considering attacking Earth. Distance doesn't protect you. Nothing protects you. We'll find a way. We always do. And when we arrive, you'll wish you'd never made us solve the problem of reaching you.